Go.
아론 초세간 일시부조도 시간 후만속 세부조쇼각 가오무료코 후이다이세슈 후사이쇼빙구 세부조쇼각 가시조 분도 묘쇼초지포 국교미쇼몸 세부조쇼각 리오쿠진쇼넨 요에슈봉교 시구무조도 이쇼텐닌시 진리키 엔다이코 부쇼무사이도 조조상쿠묘 고사이슈야쿠난 가이히치에겐 메시코무안 해소쿠쇼 아쿠도 스다텐센슈몬 고소조 만족 이요로지포 니치가튼 슈주키 텐코 온푸겐 이슈카이 호조 고세이쿠도쿠호 조오다이슈추 세포시시쿠 구요 이사이분 구소쿠슈토쿠호 간네신조만 토쿠이산가요 뇨붓무게치 tsudatnihushyo gangaku erik toshisai shoson shiganyakoka daisen okando kokusho tennin to uchi myoke Namandambu 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 Namanda, 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 namanda.
The Golden Chain. I am a link in Amita's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amita's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our virtual service, and thank you for joining us today. Please join me in Gassho for a reading from the collected works of Shinran. The primal vow of Amida was established to be supremely excellent. With skillful means and compassion, Amida draws forth foolish beings. Every sentient being gains emancipation. When we say the name, immediately our karmic evil falls away. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So this past week, as Rona and I were, or rather as Rona was driving us home from my physical therapy session, we stopped by Fred Meyer's to pick up a few groceries. And since I had a cumbersome brace on my leg, which I'm required to wear when I'm out and about, I decided to just remain in the car while Rona did the shopping. While I was sitting there kind of drowsily enjoying the solitude of the parking lot, I noticed out of the corner of my eye there was a lady that was rushing around frantically, looking under most of the cars. Finally, she came to our car, looked under the car, and then just quickly left. So I was enjoying the sunshine, and I began to nod off again, and I heard a pecking noise on the car window. It was the lady. She motioned for me to roll down my window. As I let the window down, I noticed she had a couple of boxes in her hand. I asked, "What can I do for you?" She explained that there was an injured squirrel sitting on top of my right front tire. Her plan was to capture it and put it in the box for safety and to keep the crows from attacking it. Well, I felt compelled to help, but I knew that is quite an ordeal for me to get in and out of the car with my brace on, and my efforts probably would scare the animal away, making it impossible for me to follow, and her. And it may seem a little selfish, but I could just visualize the tongue lashing I would get from Rona for trying to catch a squirrel hopping around on one leg with a walker. At that time, the mind was willing, but not the body. The lady understood my plight and kept trying to coax the animal into the box. After several failed attempts, she decided that food might get him to be more cooperative. So off she went back into Freddy's to get some food. Meantime, Rona returned with her groceries. She asked what the boxes were for, and I explained about the lady and the squirrel, and just as I was explaining the situation, the lady returned with a bag of popcorn with which to tempt the little animal. While she was in the store, I guess the squirrel fled from our tire. So she and Rona looked under our car, several cars in proximity, and no squirrel could be found. We explained that we had to leave to pick up our grandson, and we were already running late. The lady seemed exhausted from all this rushing around, but she thanked us for our help and said she would keep going until she completed her mission. I wasn't able to ask her what she would do with the animal if she managed to catch it. Her compassion was so great that I'm sure she will find a way to make the squirrel whole again. Speaking of compassion, compassion in Mahayana Buddhism means coming face to face with the suffering of all sentient beings, and it's not fun. A 15th century Tibetan master explains compassion like this. He says, "The extensive and vast mind possessed of compassion for all living beings like love, starting from the present mother and extending to the limits of space, must be cultivated to such a degree that it compares to that of a tearful person who sees or remembers that his or her only child has fallen into a pit of fire. This is, on the face, a very terrible feeling to have. Just imagine the urgency of a parent forced to watch their child suffer in such a way. In a situation like the one described, a parent's desire to save their child, to alleviate their child's suffering, would be an overwhelming, all-consuming feeling. Now just imagine having this feeling all the time, about everyone. This is the universal compassion of the Mahayana tradition. It is something that is uncomfortable, unsettling, and incredibly difficult to comprehend. It's not a particular happy or comfortable feeling to have, but that's actually the point. Genuine compassion is uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's maybe even a little bit scary. But this is why it is so important and why it has the potential to be so powerful. Operating from a place of discomfort is more likely to motivate us to act. By recognizing the suffering of others and having a sincere and urgent desire to alleviate that suffering, we can learn to act compassionately in the world. The most basic wish of all people is to live happily. Yet human society is shaped by forces that work powerfully against this basic desire, from pervasive violence to wanton environmental destruction, to the exploitation that structures such deep inequalities between people. Furthermore, even a small act of kindness requires a degree of courage. And compassion is often thought of as akin to pity, but whereas pity may be condescending, compassion springs from a sense of equality and interconnectedness of life. Compassion is rooted in respect for the inherent dignity of life, our own as well as others, and a desire to see that dignity triumph. Another master writes, "True Buddhist compassion has nothing to do with sentimentality or mere pity. This is because sentimentality or mere pity cannot help the other person achieve victory in life. It cannot truly relieve suffering and impart joy." White River Buddhist Temple is in partnership with the City of Auburn to help and address the homelessness in our area. We work with them on a project called CAC, Compassion, Accountability, and Community. The idea is to help them help themselves out of homelessness. Because genuine compassion is about empowering others, helping them unlock strength and courage from within their lives in order to overcome their problems. It may seem, or rather it may sometimes appear rather stern or contradictory. For example, although resolving a different situation for someone may seem compassionate, if this ends up making them weaker and less self-reliant, this will not contribute to their actual happiness in life. So the essence of compassion is empowerment. The effort to offer others effective encouragement for their specific circumstances is what gives rise to wisdom. Compassion and wisdom are very closely related. The Buddha tells us to imagine that every person in the world is enlightened but you. They are all your teachers, each doing just the right things to help you learn perfect patience, perfect wisdom, and perfect compassion. To me, the lady chasing the squirrel was doing this. She was a bodhisattva. In Buddhism, a bodhisattva is any person who is on the path towards Buddhahood. In Mahayana Buddhism, we might say a bodhisattva refers to a human being committed to the attainment of enlightenment for the sake of others. Becoming a bodhisattva is the goal of Mahayana Buddhism. Bodhisattvas manifest where they are needed in many forms. They might be bums, or they may be babies, friends, or strangers, teachers, firemen, policemen, used car salesmen. They might even be you. Whenever needed help is given without selfish attachments, there is the hand of the bodhisattva. When we see and hear the suffering of others and respond to that suffering, we are the hands of the bodhisattva. In closing, the Buddha taught that to realize enlightenment, a person must develop two qualities, wisdom and compassion. Wisdom and compassion are sometimes compared to two wings that work together to enable flying, or two eyes that work together to deeply see. So once again, please join me in Gassho for some words from collected works of Shinran. Contemplating the power of the Tathagata's primal vow, one sees that no foolish being who encounters it passes in vain. When a person single-heartedly practices the saying of the name alone, it brings quickly to fullness and perfection in that person the great treasure ocean of the true and real virtues. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. We may not be able to heal the world today, but we can begin with a voice of compassion, a heart full of love, and an act of kindness. Thank you for listening to my message, and have a good rest of your day.